Hey folks, Troy Dooley, MLM Help Desk and the Home Business Radio Network. Last night I had the great, it's a privilege, but it's truly fun to interview two phenomenal people. And both of these guys at one phase or another, you guys know. Some of you in the network marketing industry will know these two gentlemen. Some of you will not. But although this call went an hour and 34 minutes, and you may not want to sit through the whole call and listen to the whole thing, the interview itself, I think, will shed some light on several different topics. One is collaboration within network marketing from the highest levels to the lowest levels, and how company owners who are known throughout the industry can stop what they're doing, come together, launch a new company, and their friends from past companies, past associations, actually rally around them and say, this is awesome, we're excited for you guys, there's plenty of room for something. You're going to find a uniqueness about these guys that's unbelievable. I'm going to introduce you to Fred Ninow and Ken Dunn, the two founding partners of Ocean Avenue. And it's fun because when you look at Fred's got over 29 years of experience in traditional business and in network marketing. Former founder of Max International, sold his interest couple 3 years ago now, went off, started another business outside of network marketing, outside of the United States even. And after 2 years, when his non-compete and everything was up, him and his wife Stacy sat down and said, what are we going to do? And it's one of those things that just happens, when God's involved. In my case, I believe that's kind of what happened. Some people would say it's just universal. But Ken Dunn calls his buddy from years ago, 6 years they'd been together working before they both went their separate ways after Max, and said, I got an idea, I want to start a publishing company. And by the time they were done, and through some outside circumstances that took place, that relationships that neither Ken and Fred even had in common, they decided to launch a business. Here you've got Fred that has been able to gross over $2 billion in revenues from companies. Some of them made it, some of them lost. I mean, he's been on both sides of the fence. It's great. Senior management expert, a startup expert, launching a company. Well, I don't want to give it away, but you're going to find out. Well-funded. You've got Ken with a background of investigation. At one time, talking before the Supreme Court on Ponzi schemes and network marketing, understands comp plans, has created a unique comp plan that I think is wonderful. And now decides to come into the business as an owner. Somebody that's earned multiple millions of dollars in network marketing, saying, I want to do it one more time, but I want to do it a little different. This is going to be great. Listen to the interview. I think you're going to love it. These are the founders, Fred and Stacy Ninow and Ken and Julie Dunn of Ocean Avenue, which will launch in just a few weeks in Canada, the United States, and Indonesia. One of the largest startup launches we have ever seen. No pre-launch, just going for it. Well-funded, powerful concepts, family-focused. Listen to this.
Well, hey, folks, this is Troy Dooley with MLM Help Desk and the Home Business Radio Network, and I am joined today by two really cool guys that have decided once again to team up and do something different. And before I tell you who they are, I got to tell you something. I've known one of them at a distance through just network marketing and social media and all that. And over the years, we've just built this rapport and this respect. And a couple months ago, he called and said, I want to throw something your direction and see what you think. And after he shared with me this concept and this vision, then he flew me out to Salt Lake City, and I was able to meet his partner. And tonight, I am proud to introduce Ken Dunn and Frank Ninow, who are launching a brand new company called Ocean Avenue. And Fred and Ken, I got to tell you, thanks for being on the call with me tonight, guys.
Thanks a lot, Troy. It's great to be here with you. Hey, Troy, thank you.
Oh, this is, it's crazy because this isn't your guys' first rodeo. You've been at this before. But before we get into everything that you guys have done, Fred, I'd like you to go first. I'd like for you to just share a little bit of your background before you got into network marketing so people can really understand who you are as an individual.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Troy. I'm happy to share that with you. You know, I was really fortunate at the very beginning of my career. I had an opportunity to be a stockbroker. They used to call us stock jockeys. That we just dialed and smiled on the phone. But I did that for about 7 years, and after that I had the opportunity to get involved in investment banking. And that experience laid a foundation for me for the rest of my life. I'm extremely grateful for what happened there and the things I learned. For example, you learn what does it take to make a company successful, and very quickly you discover that management is probably the most important thing. But being able to read financials, balance sheets, understand the capitalization of a company, market trends, just how to evaluate an opportunity in multiple industries was just invaluable for me. And that served me good my whole life. In all the different entrepreneurial experiences I've had, I always leaned back on the knowledge that I gained through that investment banking experience. And real life experience is different sometimes than what you learn in classroom or you learn through research. Having your own business, starting it from scratch, having to raise the capital or use your own capital and put it at risk is a whole lot different than theory. And because I've had those experiences throughout my life, I've learned the good and bad of doing business. And honestly, I've learned more probably from my failures than I have from my successes I've had. And I think most people that are successful in lives will tell you the same thing. When you get beat up, it's getting back up and learning what you did wrong, getting back on the saddle and doing it right the next time. But anyway, investment banking was really my experience before I got into the world of investing in companies myself. But it was that foundation that gave me the knowledge and the experience and the confidence to go out and acquire and start businesses. And that's what I've done basically the rest of my life. Since I was a young guy, I think I've only had 3 jobs. And it's mainly been taking new startup ideas or companies or acquiring companies that were in bankruptcy and trying to turn them into a bigger opportunity than they were before I got there. So anyway, that's my background. And I've owned medical companies. I've owned insulation manufacturing companies. It really hasn't mattered to me. I just look at an opportunity in an industry or a space. It's called find the need, fill the need. And wherever the numbers made sense to me, that's what I jumped into. So investment banking led into entrepreneurship, and that led me to a lot of opportunities. And I'm really grateful for that original foundation, and I'm grateful you asked that question. Thanks.
Well, you're welcome. Give me a little bit. I mean, obviously, in listening to what you just shared, you understand what it takes to start the company up. You understand how to run them. You're not too worried about the different industries or niches because basic business principles the same. But in all of this, where does family fit in? Because it sounds like you were just blowing and going. Married, single? What's the scoop there?
That's a great question. I wish my wife Stacy were here to help me answer that. But when I was young and just going 100 miles an hour, I had an experience with a company that we'd started in California, and I just moved my family to from Arizona to California, and I was gone all the time. And my wife didn't know anyone there. She had our kids and was, trying to be actively engaged in their school and their lives, and I was busy working all the time. And I had a real eye-opener. It was a epiphany. I came home one night after a long day, and my wife sat me down, looked me right in the eyes, and said, "Fred, I can't deal with this anymore." And I was surprised. I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Well, you're never here. I'm lonely. I'm here with the kids. I don't know anyone. And unless you start coming home, unless you start being around, I'm going back to Salt Lake with my family. And good luck with what you're doing here." And Troy, that was like a 2x4 whacking me upside the head. And, I had to do a little bit of self-evaluation and say, what's more important is making a ton of money because that, quote unquote, gets my family everything they want, or is my family more important? And you know what happened, Troy, is I made a conscious decision that day that I was just going to get my priorities straight and tell you how I did it. I hope I'm not going to be too long here in the answer, but
no, please. How
I did it is I forced myself to engage with my kids on all kinds of levels. For example, my daughters were cheerleaders. My daughters were in gymnastics. They were in dance. And I made it a point to be involved with the organizations that they were tied to. And then when my boys got old enough, every sport in the world, I volunteered to be their coach or on the board or the assistant coach. And guess what? I had to be there. I never could make up an excuse anymore. Now, that may sound weak to people out there, but when you're driven and you're constantly focused on trying to build a new company, it's pretty easy to lose sight of what's most important to you. And that put me in a whole new world. I mean, I got to coach my boys in everything in the world, even things I didn't know. I mean, my boys did basketball, baseball, football, soccer, hockey, lacrosse, you name it. They were involved in it. And guess what? I was there too. And what I learned by going through that experience, now after many years, is guess what? It was the best part of my life. And spending time with my family is the best part of my life. And I found out, again, not trying to sound corny, but the most important things that I had in my life, I got for free. My family, the love I have with my wife, my faith, my health, all those things I got for free. And everything I was chasing to make, quote unquote, their lives better really wasn't the most important thing. Anyway, that's why family is the most important thing to me and always will be. And if people out there get to hear this and that spend time with their family, I'm sure they can relate to exactly what I'm talking about.
I tell you, people will, because I did. And if I'm not mistaken now, Fred, and then we're going to jump over to Ken, but you've had some of your kids, not we'll get into Ocean Avenue in a second, but you've had some of your kids now working with you in business, and you've supported them in their own endeavors and stuff. I mean, this is one of those genes that you've passed down, but are they not, with what they've learned, you and Stacy gone through, do you see them being able to keep a balance and keep that family culture front and center while they're out there having their own successes?
Absolutely. And again, I'm glad you asked that. My daughter, Paige, is one of the most driven young women I've ever met in my life. But guess what? She's got 4 kids, started her own charter school, now homeschools. She has her own business, internet business that we're going to talk about a little bit later on that's going to help kids learn values. And she's totally figured it out. She's figured out that family comes first, and I take my hat off to her for homeschooling. And by the way, I've met a lot of people in this industry that homeschool, and I see why, the value in that. But anyway, yeah, and I've also had my son Chris. He was in Chile with me for 2 years in this last venture we had. And what a wonderful experience being with my son. And he got to see the good, the bad, and the ugly of starting a new company. And it's wonderful to have him there and be actually at times be a support for me. My son Ryan spent about 6 months with us on, and my son-in-law Rad, same thing. So, I've been very blessed to have my kids involved in our last company. For example, Mike and Tiffany. Mike is still involved in that old company, that network marketing company. He's a big part of what's happening there. And that all happened because when we first started the last company, I had my 2 daughters, their husbands, in a little tiny 500 square foot room trying to launch a little network marketing company, and it was that little core of people that turned into what it was. So anyway, There you go.
Oh, that's great. And Ken, I'm going to come over to you now. I mean, after that, I don't know how you follow that up, but brother, tell me a little bit about your background and your family so people can understand who you really are prior to this network marketing thing.
Troy, the first thing I'm going to say is what you just heard from my friend and partner, Fred, is that's why I'm working with him. I want to be like Fred. I've been involved in network marketing as a distributor for the last decade. Prior to that, I spent about 14 years in investigative policing, and I was involved in everything from drug investigations to SWAT to homicide investigations and a whole bunch of stuff. And it was going great. I was being promoted earlier than I should have been and climbing the ranks in the police department, and it was when my son was born that I needed to get out of that career. I realized that it wasn't the right zone to be a father and to raise kids in. And so, obviously Fred and I are on completely the same page. I'm married to my best friend. Julie is incredible. She's put up with me as I've grown up over the years. We've been together for about 18 years now. My son Matthew is 11. You've met my kids, Matthew and Laura, 11 and 8 years old. They're unbelievable. In my business life, when I left law enforcement, when Matthew was born, it wasn't right into network marketing. In fact, network marketing was the furthest thing from my mind. I actually started a mortgage company in Canada, and it was at a great time back in 2000, and that mortgage business exploded. We had 20 brokers working for us, and we're funding hundreds of millions of dollars in mortgages. And then it was a real estate agent that introduced me to network marketing. And over the last decade, it's just been a dream come true. I first met Fred 6 years ago. When his family and his partners founded that company, I was the guy they called to help them start the field organization. And some of the best years of my life in network marketing were working with Fred and Stacy. Julie and I are really excited about the future, being back in business with them.
I think that's interesting. I want to bring up a part of your background that I know of, because I want people that are hearing this to understand network marketing wasn't even a natural fit for you, because when you were a policeman and a detective, correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually investigated some Ponzi schemes and learned a lot about network marketing and obviously what the difference is between the two, but you weren't exactly the biggest fan of network marketing early on, were you?
I mean, Troy, that's an understatement. Back in 97, 98, I was part of an international task force up in Canada. There were some guys from the RCMP and the Ottawa Police and some U.S.-based law enforcement agencies, including the FTC and the FBI in the States. And we investigated pyramid schemes. And I was the youngest guy on the squad. And so we were just getting ready to make the arrests, and somebody came up with the idea that one of us was going to have to go out and study network marketing companies. And because I was the youngest guy, there wasn't even drawing sticks. I was forced to do it, and I hated it. It was like 2 months of going to meetings and interviewing comp plan people. And, I remember being at a Mary Kay meeting one time with my partner and leaning over to him and laughing at all these hundreds of women dressed in pink in the late 90s. Hotels either smelled like perfume or cigarette smoke. And I leaned over to him and said, man, if I ever join one of these things, just shoot me. I testified before the Supreme Court about compensation plans and was qualified as an expert witness on compensation plans. And so it was actually 3 years after that experience. So when my buddy first came to me, the only reason I joined is because I liked him. He was a great guy. He was a real estate agent that was feeding a lot of business into our mortgage company. But I came in kicking and screaming. It was a bitter, sweet relationship for sure in the beginning.
That is crazy. What was the final? I mean, obviously he was your friend. He was bringing money into the mortgage business, but you went in kicking and screaming. What has kept you around this long in an industry, a profession, a community that you weren't that hip on?
Oh, buddy. Well, this answer is going to take about 3 hours. I had a great start, Troy. I made about $2,800 my very first month in network marketing.
Oh, wow.
And by the end of my first year, I had earned over $300,000 in commissions as a distributor, and learned the most valuable lesson of my life when, after my first year, my business crashed because of me. My 2 top leaders quit. The whole business fell apart. And I was confronted with the brutal reality that I was a dictator. And, I decided I was going to fix it. I started working on myself, and I knew I had to rebuild my business because after the dust settled, there was only 3 people left on auto ship, my wife, me, and my dog. But I realized I ended up going out and rebuilding it, sponsoring all new people, and learned the most valuable lessons that I've ever learned about life and network marketing. And it's twofold, that you've got to become the best person you can, the type of person that other people want to be around, and you've got to become really good at prospecting. And so over the years, the income exploded and a whole bunch of amazing things happened in my life that led me to writing books about network marketing and traveling around the world. But I think if I were to nail it down to one thing, what's kept me in it, it's all my friends are here. It's my life now. My best friends in the world are a guy named Glenn Martin in Australia, and a couple named Joseph and Anna on Indonesia, and a guy named Juan Carlos and his wife Hortensia in Mexico. And I'd die for any of these people, and they're all in network marketing. So if they're here, I'm here.
You know, that brings up a point, and then we're going to turn over to Fred. But Ken, you've not been one of these what I call an internet marketing junkie. You've not jumped from company to company to company. You've been very strategic when you've made your moves, or there have been situations that have come up that have caused you to make moves. And you mentioned friends in all these companies, and you and I have had this talk online and offline about collaboration. When you told some of your friends, hey, you know what, I got this wild hair and I'm going to go launch a company, did that bring any strain in any of these relationships from people that are in other companies? Did they worry that oh my gosh, Ken Dunn might come out here and try to raid us or anything like that? Talk about the collaboration and what you actually have in these friendships.
Yeah, I would say in answer to that question, the short answer is a big, fat, hairy no. It hasn't caused any stress whatsoever. Listen, I've been blessed with having built some of the greatest friendships in the history of network marketing. The greatest leaders in our industry, people like, Orion Sala in Norway, and Oren Woodward, who's a household name in network marketing, and Jordan Adler, who is probably one of the coolest guys in the world of network marketing, and Donna Johnson over at Arbonne, and my own best friend Juan Carlos at Evolve. I could just go on and on. I have people that I call dear friends in the biggest companies in MLM, and then extremely close associations with owners of other companies like Richard Brook and BK Braco, and people that I absolutely admire. So no, I don't think with any of them. You can talk to anybody who knows me at that level, and there will not be one of them who would say that they are nervous that I'm starting a network marketing company. In fact, I'll tell you, my friendships are so important to me that if somebody were to even come to me from one of their companies or any company and say, oh, I want to leave my company and check out what you're doing, first thing I'm going to ask them is, have they talked to their friends? Have they talked to the owner? Have they talked to their upline? Because chances are I'm connected to somebody in one way or another, and I don't want to hurt those friendships.
See, and I think that's important, Ken, that people understand this, because I think sometimes network marketing is very large at the bottom, and it gets very small at the top, and we all are friends. We have friends everywhere, and I want them to understand that are hearing this call to know that this wasn't just some wild hair and that you just decided to leave a company, launch a company, raid companies and all that, because so much is on the internet these days where people just take things and they run with rumors like it's truth. And I wanted you to bring that up, and that's why I'm glad you shared that. But Fred, I want to turn to you for a second, because I've been sitting here thinking this through as Ken's talking, and you've got this pretty detailed background, and you've had both successes and failures in all kinds of businesses. What made you decide in your practice company before to even get into network marketing when you've had all this success in just traditional business?
Troy, that's a great question. In the last company that I was involved in, and I feel really blessed I was part of that. And like everything you get involved in, there are challenges, and there were challenges in the last company, but overall it was an absolute wonderful experience for me. Very proud of the products that were sold, the people involved in it. It was just a great experience, and a great deal of that credit I have to give to Ken. And that's why Ken and I are together again. Ken's one of the few people I've met in my life that made a commitment and then absolutely 100% lived up to it. And that's rare. That's really rare. So to give you an answer about why the industry, when we had a nutritional supplement in the last company, it just made sense. I'm from Utah, and it's one of the mecca centers of network marketing, and you can go up and down the streets by where I live. And there's owners of multiple network marketing companies. There's top leaders, and I know a lot of these people, but I've never, ever been engaged in network marketing before that time. I knew a lot about it, but when we were evaluating the supplement that we had, and it was a phenomenal supplement with a great story behind it, it just made sense. Network marketing made sense. And the reason I wasn't nervous to get into that area is because we had guys from the industry like Ken that would bring us down the right path. I didn't pretend to know everything about it. We went out and got a CFO from the industry. We got a president from the industry. And when we launched that company, I was surrounded by people that knew what they were doing. And that was a great deal, the reason for our success. And I'm grateful for that. But, that's a business model anyone should look at. People always say to me, well, how do you evaluate a company? And I always say, well, you know what the top three things are when you're trying to decide to invest in a company? And they always go, what is it? And I say it's management, management, management. And that sounds corny, but it's the truth, because let's say a company starts to run out of money. And if they're good people, they'll figure out how to get more money. If they're having problems with their product, they'll figure it out. If they're having products with distribution, they'll figure it out. So, when we started the last company, it just absolutely was a perfect fit to go with network marketing. And you know what? I've got to admit, I was skeptical about the industry on some level because I'd never been involved in it. I knew the dynamics of the power of duplication, so that made sense to me, but I had some reservations. I don't want to take too much time, but I'll give you a personal experience. In the past, every company that I've had was a traditional company. And I was, an owner or one of the top management or the top management in the company. And I always made it a point to not connect with even the executives in the company, because if it didn't work out, I wanted to be able to go in and say, sorry, but you're fired. And that made it easy for me. When I got involved in network marketing, holy cow, what a difference. You start hearing people's personal stories, and they start bearing their soul, and you hear that they are betting everything they have on you. They're betting everything that they have on their future on you. And it didn't take very long for my wonderful wife, Stacy, and myself to start feeling that, I guess the best way is that mantle, that we needed to be honorable, and we needed to figure out a way to take care of those people because they were given everything. And that changed my opinion of things. I've never been involved in a business where you could change people's lives with health, finances, whatever, maybe just outlook. You had this really cool moral side to it, where in most businesses it's just about the money and about the money. So yeah. Anyway, the reason I got into it was because it was a perfect fit. And being part of it, when I left it for the last couple of years, my wife just loved it. She just loves the people. I can't tell you how much she just loves being around people. And she grew a lot of great friends from our last company. And I think she punched me in the arm for probably 2 years, asking me why I was crazy enough to get out of it because she loved it so much. And she's right. She's right. You can do some magical things in this industry.
Without a doubt. I want to talk about the former company, because I'm not worried about naming the former company per se, but I want folks to understand this is a company that's doing multiple millions of dollars today. This is a good-sized network marketing company. You helped. Literally, you founded the company. You had partners and stuff, but you left that company. And one of the things that I admire about you is not only did you leave the company, but when you talk about principles, you fulfilled the principles because you had signed non-competes, you had done some stuff, and you walked away from this profession in a huge way. You went to Chile and launched a new business. But what lessons, Fred, as somebody that's a businessman, somebody that was brand new in the first network marketing venture, what lessons did really stand out for you that you learned from there that you're bringing into Ocean Avenue that okay, we're not going to make these mistakes again because I've already learned my lessons there?
Yeah, and I want to be careful because I love the people over there and I have a lot of respect for them, and I want them to succeed. So I'm just going to point out some things that I personally gained from it. Is that okay, Troy?
Yeah, that's great. That's all I want.
Yeah, what I discovered is when you make a commitment to the field, you better live up to it. And you also better respect them. what I discovered over there is the product isn't really the company. The organization or management of the company is not the company. What it really is, it's the people that are out there pushing your concept and what you believe in. And what I learned, and it took me quite a while to figure it out, is that is really the business. The business is the relationship with you and the people out there making it happen. And if you don't treat that with utmost respect and priority, you're just heading down the wrong road. Now, obviously, you have to make sure the checks go out on time, the product goes out on time, all the traditional things that come with a business. But you'd better learn very quickly that you have to learn to honor those folks. You have to listen to them. Now, let's be candid. You can't listen to everybody and be everything to everybody. So you do have to weigh the balance of things that people bring to you. But at the end of the day, what I took from that experience is you had to be completely honorable to the field.
And transparent.
Yeah, and transparent. Absolutely transparent. And you know what? I don't know if this is the right time to say this, but I'm thrilled with the direction we're going right now. You know, Ocean Avenue is a radical name. It's not what you'd hear in this industry. The concept that we're going to roll out with trying to create memories for families through wonderful trips and vacations, I want to break the mold. I want to do something so radically different that people are attracted to it. They'll see the fun in it, and they're going to want to be involved just because of the culture that we're going to create. So I'm super, super excited about where we're going.
There's a mold.
I can tell that, and that was well, you know, this is great because that was one of those kind of teasers that you see right before the commercial on the news, you know. So now that people are wondering what he's talking about, we'll cover that a little bit later. But I like it.
I hope I answered your question. Did I answer it okay there?
You did. You did great because I want people to understand that because this isn't the first go-around, that all you guys, you know, you've learned some stuff. Your families have learned some stuff. Your executives that we'll interview in a few weeks have learned things from all of your experiences that when every one of you that I've talked to, it all comes back down because you've all said this separately and you've said it together. It is the field. It's the fact that you guys have learned at different levels from being in the field to being at corporate that, you know what, it's the people that make up the company. And that's tough. And I'm glad that you brought that up because from traditional business, they don't get that. I talked to an equity firm 2 days ago, and they kept trying to figure out all kinds of things. And at the end of it, I said, guys, it's the people. You don't get it. It's the people. And they still don't get it. So, you hit that one right on. But, Ken, I want to go to you because you were the guy that Fred called to be the founding distributor in this previous company. And I want you to talk about what you learned. I mean, there you are, a founding distributor. You're bringing in these people. You're cultivating, and you've already learned from your first mistakes. But what lessons did you learn from your previous company that you're now bringing in and saying, okay, I don't want to make these mistakes again?
You know, I think the biggest thing that we need to look at here, and that we're going to be extremely focused on at Ocean Avenue, is that we need to get back to the basis for why this industry started in the first place, or what it's become. We need to really talk about collaboration. I realized we built an organization, my friends and I, in that company that, it produced a lot of revenue, 100 million plus in just a couple of years. And we had, I don't even know exactly how many, but there was a significant amount of people, some of the greatest leaders I've ever met in network marketing. And, in Canada, we got this old saying, when somebody gets stressed out, they start making mistakes in their business, oftentimes it's because the key stakeholder in the affair is holding the stick too tight. It's a hockey saying, the elite level hockey players, because we know that all the greatest hockey teams come from Canada. The elite level hockey players, you can actually, when they're out there skating around and in their zone, they've got a really nice loose grip on their stick. And that's where the finesse comes from. It's where the zone is achieved. And, that's what I realized is what the most amazing thing about network marketing is it starts off with just a couple of people who develop a vision together. And that vision gets caught by a couple really strong field leaders. But then they start adding a little bit of their own vision to the bigger vision. And they buy it. They own it. But they only own it once they can identify with it. And they can only identify with it once they've added something to it themselves. So the vision, as it grows, it tends to slightly change a bit. It becomes a bigger vision. And it's the right thing to happen. And what I realized at Max is the reason it grew so fast is we had a very specific vision of what we saw it as when we started. But as some of these amazing leaders joined, that we weren't holding the stick too tight. The vision grew, and more people adopted it and added to the vision. And so what I realized is that we've got to just, number one, we got to be ourselves. We can't try and be somebody we're not. And number two, we have to be open enough to allow people the freedom to come in and do it the way they want. You know, to jump on the bus and to run in the same direction, but give them the flexibility to be leaders.
That's powerful, man. I think the flexibility to be leaders. I may steal that because I really do think that's good. When leaders attract other leaders, obviously there can be a lot of egos, a lot of opinions, and being flexible like that allows you to grow, and it allows the team to morph. Crying out loud, I've seen that with you guys just from day one as I've started documenting and taking notes. You guys, you do that internally, do you not? I mean, this isn't just you talking about the field, Ken. I've sat around the table. I've seen you guys do this.
Oh, man, I mean, that's what I love about this. You know, I know you're going to ask a little bit later, so I won't get into too much detail about it now, but how this all started with Fred and I and getting reconnected. But we realized right up front that we had the chance to do something amazing together, and we've got really specific reasons why we want to do it. And to be really candid, Fred is the guy that I want to be when I'm 50. I'm only 41, so Fred's like my big brother. And I'm going to follow right in his footsteps. I love the way he is with his family. I love the example that he sets. And so our vision, Fred and I, and Stacy and Julie, our wives, we're doing this to create a company that's an example for families and that can bring families closer together. But we knew that we couldn't do it alone. So we brought in, I mean, I can't wait to tell you about our corporate management team. These guys are unbelievable. They bring 200 years of experience to us. But they've also have some amazing ideas. And some of those ideas took us slightly away, not completely away, but slightly away from our original ideas, but they made a greater outcome.
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you think? What we're on to now is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. I admire the team that, you know, we've been able to assemble. These guys and women have just come up with what I believe is the future.
Of network marketing.
It's the future.
Yep.
It's where companies are going to go. It was easy. I think you sat in on part of our meetings, Troy, when we were trying to figure out who we were.
Yeah.
And you saw that. It was a little painful trying to figure that out, you know, when we had all of us in the room. But at the end of the day, we all agreed what we are is about family.
Yeah.
And if we can figure out a way to put that out there and give people an experience, that would be a huge, huge positive. And guess what? Our guys figured it out. They absolutely figured it out with the Ocean Avenue, with the concept that's going to be the culture and the family, and totally focusing on creating memories and doing things. Hey, it's a dream come true for me.
Yep.
I mean, it is, and it's them. And Ken's right. These guys brought so much more to the table than I had the ability to bring. It's pretty cool.
I love it. It's going to be great, and we're going to get into that for a second. Ken, I got to throw back to you for a second, because you are, you know, Fred, he went on a fishing trip for 2 years, and he's been chilling and all that good stuff. But, you know, you've been at it, dude. You have been in the trenches building a business, and just the last few months walked away from that business to do this. And the average distributor sometimes, as we all know, they're no different than we were, and they see us and they get excited and they buy into what we're talking about and they buy into us as leaders, and then one day we're gone. And sometimes they don't get it. And I want you to share a little bit of the burning desire that you had in your heart to do this, and really why you walked away from your very last company that you were very active in to decide to do something new.
that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Actually, $1 billion question, but that's okay.
Yeah. I'm going to start by saying something I said earlier. I love network marketing. My best friends are in network marketing. All my friends are in network marketing, and regardless of the fact that I'm now sitting on the owner's side of the table, it doesn't change any of that. First thing I want to say is the reason I left to do this has nothing to do with anything negative. That to be frank, it was the hardest decision I've ever made in my life, and I've had many nights where I've been emotionally upset, where I've been crying about it, because some of my best friends in the world are still there, and I want them to be there for the rest of their lives. Listen, here's why. I met Fred 6 years ago, and when I first met him, I knew right away he was a guy I wanted to be in business for a long time. And business being what it is, 3 years later, after that, we ended up going off in different directions, and we lost touch with each other. And I spent some real serious time and money with a team of leaders to find the company that I went to, and I made the right choice. And, 3-4 months ago now, out of the blue, 2 years after I had been with this new company, Fred calls me. And he called me. It was touching. He called me just to thank me and tell me that he couldn't call me for the last 2 years, and now things had changed and he was able to. And he was just calling to restart a friendship. And it was like a blessing for me. It was like, God had put me through some real learning experiences in my life, and it was kind of like part of the reward having Fred back around. And we started focusing on our friendship again and chatting about business, and I was trying to convince him to invest in a publishing company that I had a business plan put together for, and he was doing that courtesy for me as a friend, looking through the plan. And then out of the blue, I get another friend who is completely unrelated to Fred and I. In fact, I didn't even tell Fred about it. His name's Robert. He's up in Canada, and he calls me. We're talking one day on the phone, and he tells me about this mad scientist in British Columbia, Franco Cavalleri, who's a bioneutronomic specialist. Took about 5 minutes to figure out how to say that.
You got that
and
right.
Told me how Franco had devoted his life to these products, and when he was in his 20s, he used his own natural supplements to become Mr. North America. And then in his 30s, he was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis and given a terminal the diagnosis, told he was going to die. And then he formulates a couple other natural supplements, and, well, I obviously got to be careful about how I say this, but gall darn it, he saved his life.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an amazing story, and it's all documented. And when I was listening to Franco, and so Robert called me up and told me about Franco and said, hey, he's got these great products. He has no idea about selling them. Would you be interested in talking to him? And I stopped Robert cold, and I said, Robert, I'm not interested in any business opportunities. And he said, no, I don't. I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Just give him some advice. So 4 hours next day, 4 hours later, I'm on the phone with Franco. And, Fred and I were heavily involved in launching the company before, and we had a product that was focused on raising glutathione levels.
Sure.
And when Franco, out of the blue, started talking about how his main product was clinically proven to raise glutathione levels, I mean, I just started crying. It became really clear to me what God wanted me doing. And I've had a lot of people, Troy, over the last 3 or 4 years, leaders in the field and people that know me that have told me that I should start an MLM, and I told them they were crazy. Swore I'd never do it. But I got off the phone and called up Fred and said, how come you never talked to me about starting an MLM? Because that's our connection. And God love him, he said his response to me was, Ken, it's not my place. You're doing well in what you're doing. That's just not my right to even bring that up with you. And I said, well, I'm bringing it up because I think something's happened here that is a direction, and we need to pursue it. And so we did a bunch of due diligence with Franco, and we love Franco and what he brings to our team. The products are amazing, and so now we're starting a business. But, I'm glad you asked that question, because like somebody just posted on a quote that Ted Newton put out a little press release about us today, and some leader said, "Oh yeah, MLM's a soap opera," and I want to punch that saying in the face right now. I don't want to punch the leader in the face because he's actually an amazing guy, but it's not a soap opera. It's about people following passions, and every once in a while something's going to come along that, I mean, it's bigger than us. This isn't Fred and I saying, "Oh yeah, let's get back in business and start an MLM." There's no plan to this. Fred called me to rekindle a friendship, and the rest, it's a force bigger than either of us.
See, I think, and people need to understand that. And network marketing is not a soap opera. It actually is a very gigantic family reunion, and I mean that because when you look at every company, every leader, every vendor, every anything, you can trace them all back to some other company, and all of a sudden they have these good memories, and they sit around and they share those memories. And yeah, sometimes it can look a little crazy, and it may look like the Hatfields and McCoys at times, but at the end of the day, the one thing I've learned about network marketing is outsiders better not pick on us because we all rally together because we love what we do and we love each other. So I'm glad you brought that up, man, because that was big. But Fred, I got to ask you, I mean, why launch? I mean, why launch any company, but why launch another network marketing company? You and Stacy and the kids, I mean, you could do anything you wanted to do. What made you decide that what Ken showed you was worth another go around at this?
Troy, okay, here comes the straightforward response. My wife, and this may seem lame to some people out there, and that's okay. I don't care. My wife loves this industry. She just loves it. And you know what? I love my wife more than I love anything else. So guess what? I'm going to do what makes her the most happy in life. So there's my number one reason. Second reason is I'm an opportunist. Let's be candid. I'm a entrepreneur. I'm about making money, and I think I'm a fairly smart guy. Sometimes I've been stupid and I've made bad decisions, but that happens with everyone. But I just looked at the opportunity that, for whatever reason, was laid before me with Ken, with Franco. It sounds crazy, but it's so weird how all the pieces just fell in place. It's not like I sought for it, I looked for it, it just fell in place. And I learned a long time ago not to question when those kind of things happen in my life. When I've tried to start new companies and it seemed like nothing went right, it usually didn't work right. When things just line up naturally, you better chase it. And that's what's happened with this. It just lined up. And I would have been a fool. I would have been a fool not to get engaged in it. The other part of that answer is, I'm at a point in my life. I'm 54. I've done all kinds of things. And I really would like to do something that makes a difference. And I don't mean just a kind of difference. I'd really like to do something extraordinary. And that's what I'm hoping to get out of this. I'm going to put everything I can into it. I tell my kids all the time, if you want something extraordinary, you have to be willing to do extraordinary things. And I'm telling you right now, Troy, I'm committed to this thing. I'm 1,000% committed to it. And I believe we could touch so many people's lives. Let's look at what's going on in America right now. It drives me nuts. If I were to put in order of problems in America, I think number one is stress. I think people are stressed out. They're scared. They're nervous about the future of this country, which is an awesome, awesome country. A lot of people are broke. They're struggling financially. And a lot of people are struggling. We have an obesity problem in this country, and we have people are nutritionally, they're unhealthy. So just add this up. If you're trying to figure out a need and fill a need, what more could you ask for? Absolutely. So I'm extremely passionate that if we do this right, and I know every leader, holy cow, every owner says the same thing, but I'm telling you, I am 100% committed. I know Ken is committed. I know our leadership in our company is committed to changing what's going on out there. If we can be that light that other people will see, and they will connect to it, they will come to us, and together we can change things. My wife brought a poster in the other day, since we're doing this ocean theme. It's a picture of a big wave, and in the wave it talks about teamwork, and it says that, one person is a drop, but together we're an ocean. And that fits in so perfectly with what we're trying to achieve here. I think we could make a massive impact. We're going to bring joy to people's lives. We're going to bring happiness. We're going to give them memories. And we're going to help solve what I see are the ills in this country. And whatever we can do to make a dent in that, I'm all for it.
Amen.
Okay?
I love that. I want to stay right on this theme. You being the serial entrepreneur, you being the one that has the real intensity of the numbers of management, and I'm going to throw this to Ken in a minute, but can you share a little bit about your leadership team and how you went about choosing the different personalities that you have that are working at the executive level with you in this?
You bet. I appreciate you asking that, and I wonder if I should defer to Ken on that, but I can talk a little bit about it. One of the problems most network marketing companies have when they start is not being properly funded.
Yeah.
And we've gone way out of the way to make sure that we will be completely overcapitalized, and that's what we've done in advance. And it shows. It shows in a company when they're struggling, for money. Owners think that they can hide it, but you can't hide it. It shows everywhere. And along with some things we put in place that we've been willing to spend money on, if people will see this, I always say, by their fruits you shall know them. If you look at what we've done with our office space, which we built one whole side of our office out for our associates, that they can come in there and just be welcome, and there's all kinds of tools and things that they'll need to grow. We went with one of the biggest leaders in the industry for the back office, Exigo, and we've gone out and branded everything. We've spent extra money to have everything branded properly, from our hyper wallet to our everything and our starter kit. When people see that what we're bringing is real, they'll recognize that we've put the right money behind this thing. And that leads me to the team. We have a huge staff right now. We have a very large overhead, one that's very unusual for a startup company, but you've got to have it. If you don't have the right bodies in the place to help launch this thing properly, you'll never support what the field needs. You just won't do it. Mm-hmm. So, I'll go down the list. Tuffy Baum, who has got huge COO history. This guy is an operational genius. Had his own startup company, sold it for millions of dollars, has been working for Airgas for the last 15 years because they wouldn't let him go because he was so valuable to them in operations. Jesse Riddle has been involved in the industry, one of the most powerful legal counsels, huge experience international with MLM and network marketing. Cowrie, who I've gotten to know and love. This guy's got the biggest heart. He knows where the priorities need to be. That's the field. And what's cool about Cowrie is he's been involved as being a leader in the field, so he brings all of that passion and that experience of what those people are expecting, and he's helping us in our marketing as our VP of Sales and Marketing. Jenny Thompson, which happens to be his wife, she was involved in another company with Cowrie. When they launched, I guess I can use the word Sweet 16, they were extremely successful in that company, and she helped build the culture. And obviously to us, culture is at the top of the list. Rad Anderson, who's our executive VP, was at our last company. He's been there, done that, been involved in every aspect of it, from the back office to commissions, fulfillment. And Paula, who I'm extremely excited about, and I'm going to let you guys go to the website and learn more about him and let Ken touch on them. But Paula just left another network marketing company and has such huge experience in customer service. Yeah. And I'll just put my touch on this. The customer service is the first touch that people get after the person that brought them in the business. And we want, when people call our customer service, I want them to have a wonderful experience and know that they're important. So Paula was a big find, and I'll let Ken talk more about her and some of the other people.
I would say, Troy, Fred hit the nail on the head. Some people might think we're being a little silly, with our overhead, what we've done. We've got a beautiful 12,000 square foot headquarters in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have an actual physical country office in Toronto, Canada for the Canadian market, a 5,000 square foot office up there with staff in the office the day we launch. We're launching in Indonesia. We've got a staff over there, and we've just secured a beautiful 4,000 square foot office in a luxury shopping center in Jakarta. And we just decided to do it right. You know, we're going to go on the adage, if you build it, they will come.
There we go.
Wait a minute, Ken, I thought you were going to bring them.
I'm just kidding. We've got really great reserves, and with the people we know we're starting with, we're going to do, it's going to be a great year for us this year.
We're going to make some noise.
Yeah, exactly. You know, here's what I like about our management team. Every single person on the team came to us through a family relationship. So Tuffy Bomb, what Fred didn't say is Tuffy's one of Fred's best friends, and they've known each other for years. Their kids are friends. There's family connections, and this guy is our chief operating officer. I'm telling you what, there is nobody better than him. Jesse Riddle, he's running international and overseeing all of our general counsel needs. I mean, this guy's a stud. He's built large field organizations. He's been a lawyer and litigator in Utah forever. Cowrie Thompson, he was the first guy I went to. Of everybody that was out there, our entire corporate management team, when it was just Fred and I trying to figure out if we were going to do this or not, I went to Cowrie and said, listen, we've got this vision, and we'd like you to come get on the bus with us. And Cowrie was, you know, he was a top guy at Zango. He built an amazing business over at Visalis. He's got incredible relationships. We love the example that those companies have set, and now he's over here helping us. It is such an important role to have somebody running sales and marketing that built field organizations. Plus, he was an executive VP at another company. And Jenny, her role is actually called the VP of Ambassador Experience. Every single person who joins our company, they're an ambassador from day one. We're not going with the name distributor and associate because it really doesn't speak our hearts. They're our ambassadors. And Jenny's got a crucial role. She's in charge of training and all of the events and the culture of the company. Rad is in charge of everything operational in the company. And Paula Crano, she's our vice president of ambassador assistance and customer care. I mean, Paula left, as Fred said, a major network marketing company that she'd been with for 7 years, and she left with tears in her eyes because she loves those people. But she ran a customer call center for Sears of over 700 people. She ran another customer call centers for U.S. Airways Holidays, 400 people, just in the call centers. And she's putting together a massive plan to expand our communications abilities with our teams. So, yeah, we've got, I would say without, and trying to stay humble saying this, it's just tough because we got one of the best daggone corporate management teams that this industry's ever seen. I guarantee it's as good as any startup company in the history of this industry.
Well, it's amazing to me what I've seen you guys do, and you bring something up that I want to touch on for a minute. Most startup companies don't decide let's pull the lever internationally from day one, and you just let the cat out of the bag. You've got a country office in Canada. You've got a country office in Indonesia. You know, you guys literally are doing this in a gigantic way. Why do it in such a grandiose manner like this?
I'm going to answer that for you, Troy, and I know Ken will fix whatever I say. But look, you know what? I remember in my past experience in network marketing, and I've seen it all over the industry, people say, well, if you build it, we'll come.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you show us the numbers, we're going to show up. And it always worried me because, you know what, if it doesn't work out, you end up hurting a lot of people. Yeah. People that went out there, put up the money, put the effort into it, and then you don't show up. And I'm telling you, I have a super hard time with that. I'm not out to hurt people. I'm not out to take advantage of them. And if we can't put our money where our mouth is, I shouldn't expect other people to do it.
Amen.
So what we've decided as a company is if we can't support it properly, we're not going to do it.
Yep.
And if we can't stay, we're not going. I respect what people do in this industry. I've heard so many horror stories where people, they get friends, neighbors, they build huge relationships with people, and then when you can't support them and abandon them, I'm sorry, that's just not right.
Yeah, and I agree with every word Fred just said, so let me go right to the answer to the question now. The reason we're doing it is because it's the right thing to do. Listen, the bottom line is Canada and America when it comes to network marketing, it's one big family.
Sure.
And I love our partnership, Fred and I together, because I'm Canadian, I live in Toronto, Canada, Fred's American, and he lives here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And we're going to launch in those countries. Any country we go into, we are going to have a physical presence. Troy, this part's going to freak you out. Any country we go into, we're going to make the products in the country
From day one.
Wow.
It's the only way to do it. So we're actually producing our products for America in America. We're producing our products for Canada in Canada. We're producing our products for Indonesia in Indonesia. We've got great contracts and relationships in place in those countries. The reason that we're starting in those countries on day one, the biggest reason is because I've got amazing, dear, deep friendships with people in those countries. And very quickly after we launch, I would say maybe as soon as a month afterwards, we're going to expand our footprint to 4 countries and open in Vietnam because of those same deep friendships that we have. And we're going to do it right. We're going to invest in the infrastructure. We're going to invest in proper bilingualism in the countries that we're in. And we're going to have the infrastructure in place in those markets.
Yeah, the right pay card system, so people will be able to get their product and get paid.
Yeah.
Day one.
Yeah.
And the right way.
We're not gonna be the company that's gonna just turn a blind eye to distributors doing their NFR programs, not for resale and signing up thousands of people in a foreign country in, some single address in California, some freight forwarder. I've done that in my early days. It doesn't work and it hurts people. That's what Fred was alluding to. So we're gonna be an international business. We are gonna grow rapidly in the next 5 years all across Asia and all through Latin America. It's our plan, and we're going to do it the right way.
Well, I want to bring up something because you said business, but I'm taking this a step further, Ken, because it's kind of family. Because what you're doing is you're sticking everything in Indonesia that needs to be in Indonesia. So you're not outsourcing to America. You're not outsourcing to some other country. And it sounds like you're going to do the same thing in Vietnam, to where each country, even though it's a different culture, is part of one big happy family, because you guys are going to be supporting people in that country that may not want to be in the comp plan, but they might want to work in the manufacturing facility or in the call center or something else. Am I not correct in that?
We're going to have a dramatic impact positively on the countries that we decide to do business in. And we're going to decide to do business in specific markets based on our distributor partners and our association with those people. And I'm really super fired up about that. Let me tell you one thing. Troy, here's a big part of why we're doing international the way we are. Comes from Stephen Covey's book, The Speed of Trust. The bottom line is, in those countries, we have people that we trust. And that's probably the one thing that stops other companies from locally manufacturing in the countries or setting up infrastructure in the countries. And I'm not being critical of anybody, because everything is based on trust. Sure. It just happens that we have very deep, trusting relationships that allow us the comfort level to do what we're doing.
And trust is a big thing. And you know what? Fred and I have had that discussion just because of the role that I'm playing in documenting some of your stuff. So, trust is something that you guys don't take lightly. It's something I know for a fact that you have been in. Every time we talk, it seems like you're in Indonesia. So I know that you guys are building and you're making this work, and I'm excited about that. But now I want to get to the part that it's been hard to keep Fred from talking about already, and that is what really. I mean, it's one thing because you're right, Fred. You hit it on the head. Everybody hears we're going to be different and we're going to be unique and we're doing this, but at Ocean Avenue, I've already seen some of the inside under the hood, and it is different. But I want you to share. I mean, you guys are all going to be excited, so don't get too excited here. But share with me, Fred, first from you, and then from Ken. But share a little bit about the uniqueness of Ocean Avenue.
Absolutely. Thank you. When we first sat in a room, and you saw some of this, we discussed what was changing in the industry, what was going on out there that was making noise, that was working, what wasn't working anymore. And we decided that we had to be radically different. I mean, if we really wanted to touch people's lives, and lots of them, we had to figure out a way that we could be different. And we had to be different in a positive way. And, I kept calling it pushing the rock up the hill. When we first started, we were kind of looking like a traditional network marketing company with traditional naming and launching. And we put a lot of effort and, by the way, a lot of money into going down a path that we ultimately abandoned. And we abandoned it for the right reason. And that was because our guys came up with this really cool idea. And I mean, I think it's really cool. The Ocean Avenue, I believe, immediately makes people think of something different than a network marketing company, and that's what I want, because I don't want to be like everybody else. I want people to go, wow, what's that? And the name by itself, in my opinion, creates that interest and that excitement. You can't say the word ocean to me without my heart going pitter-patter, because I think of all the trips I've been on with my family and been on the beach with the toes in the water and my butt sitting in the sand. So that really resonates with me. But more importantly, what I love about it is the concept of giving people an opportunity to go on a vacation with their family and create memories. Because guess what? That's the best part of my life. And it just fits. It just fits every core of me, that I can go out there and share the same experiences. I hear about these car bonuses that companies have, and I can give you my opinion about that, and I don't want to be really negative. And I've heard about lifestyle bonuses where you give people cash, which is great because a lot of people need cash. But you know what? If we can get people in a situation where they can go and do the most important thing in their life, and that's be with their family and enjoy it, what better is there in life? There's nothing. So, yeah, I'm stoked. This fits me. It fits me like a glove. I don't have no problem standing up in front of a crowd and saying, look, I'm proud to be part of this. I'm proud to be part of Ocean Avenue, and you need to come along on the journey with us, because together we're going to change things. And, I think the products, love Franco, but I think the culture and our message is going to be a vehicle that people can be part of, and the products will support that. Anyway, without getting long-winded, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled about the concept, and I do think it's radical. Maybe people out there won't quite see it the same way as I see it passionately, but we are going to drive the message that about family, creating memories, and we're going to give them a vehicle to do it. And I'm going to be proud of every bit of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is going to sound like a funny question, but I'm going to ask it so that we can clarify for the listeners. So Ocean Avenue is a travel company, Ken?
Yes, sorry. I knew Ken had fixed it.
Yes, no, absolutely. Without a doubt. In fact, it's the best dadgum vacation club on the whole planet. I've already had a chance to travel over to Indonesia a couple times, obviously living up in Canada, America. I've been on the phone fielding calls from amazing people. Next week I'm going over to Hanoi, to Vietnam, back to Indonesia again. And I'm getting asked all the time what makes us different. Here's the first thing I'll tell you. What makes us different is that we're different. And it starts with Fred and Stacy and Julie and I. We're different. We decided that we're not going to be part of something that even feels normal. We're going to do something that it feels completely weird. Because it's the way we want to live our lives. And, what really got to me is that about a month ago, Fred and I had our families out on his Mastercraft ski boat there on Lake Utah for the day, and we were water skiing and kneeboarding and nursing back injuries and all kinds of stuff. And that was why, it personified in one day why I want to spend the rest of my life in business with Fred. It was because of holidays and vacations and being family first. And I don't care if some people think it's a mixed message, but we are the family vacation company that's got amazing supplements. That's really what it comes down to. Let me explain that now. So here's what makes us different. First of all, you're made different by your culture. And your culture is created by intent. You either create your culture by intent or your culture creates you. And we intend to have a culture that is about fun and is about time off and vacations together. So what that means is we've got, at the foundation, we are a supplement company. We've got some amazing anti-aging lifestyle products that we are going to bring to market. But our marketing team came up with this amazing idea. Instead of a car program, we're launching the Ocean Avenue Vacation Club. And the Ocean Avenue Vacation Club is a one of its kind. There is nothing like it in the industry, vacation rewards club. And I'm not going to get into a lot of the details here because obviously there's some things we're going to wait until we talk to you one-on-one.
Absolutely.
But bottom line is we've come up with a way that we can give free vacations to everybody who's associated with us. And you know what? People are going to get free vacations just for being on auto ship in our company without even signing up a single person. If they want to be a customer of our company, they're going to earn the ability just by buying our products to have free vacations. And we want to become the company in the world that's given away more family vacations than any other company on the planet. Now, why are we doing it? Well, for many reasons. It resonates with Fred and I. Secondly, it's going to attract a lot of attention. People are going to buy more of our products in the process. Anybody who comes to work with us, we have, I'd say, one of the coolest compensation plans seen in network marketing, and we can talk about this another time, but it's another reason we're different. I've got a lot of experience with compensation plans, and what I know is that there's no perfect compensation plan, and if you're in an ethical company, they're going to pay 50% to the field. That's just the way it is. And different compensation plans dictate different behaviors. And some compensation plans are better for different parts of the team, if you will. Let me give you an example, and this is only my personal opinion. Unilevel compensation plans have a better positioning for people when they're first getting started. There's just more money up front. There just is. Matrix compensation plans are beautiful for newer people who have very little experience in the industry because they teach you exactly how to place people in the tree to get the biggest checks. And speaking of biggest checks, there is no comparing the power of binaries and hybrid binary compensation plans for the big leaders. Well, we've come up with a way in our Ocean Avenue compensation plan to bring together the power of those three compensation plans into one. Now, that's not some trick way of me saying it's really a hybrid binary, but it's a Unilevel because it has matching bonuses on the back end. It's a new concept. And we've shown it to leaders. We brought in some of the greatest compensation plan experts in the industry. We invested a significant amount of money doing all the algorithms and working with the experts. And so our compensation plan is different. Our vacation club is different. Our products are different, but most importantly, our international expansion plans are different, but most importantly, Troy, to be really frank, we're different.
Yeah, I'm seeing that you're different, totally. And I was teasing you about the travel, but you really are. I mean, you said it so perfectly. You're different. You're a supplement company with this vacation travel program. It's Ocean Avenue. I mean, Paige and I have had numerous discussions about this company from the very beginning. And when I went in the other day and said, you're not going to believe this, but here's what the company's going to do, and here they've made a change, and it's like it took her just a little bit to get it. And then it's like, wow, they really are family. They aren't just walking this or saying this. They're actually going to walk their walk and make this happen. And you guys are doing something that is different, and I want to touch on that. What about, we've had these discussions, and now I see it over on the website. What's this thing for the kids? I mean, this is really big, and Fred, you touched on this with Paige. So what is the big deal about kids and what you guys are doing?
Well, I'm going to let Ken expound on that too, but before I answer that, let me just jump into something. I want everyone that listens to this to know that my heart is behind the products. I cannot support or be part of any company that I wouldn't go to my best friends and neighbors and ask them to take the product because I didn't think it would make a significant change in their lives. And that is how I feel about the products. So I'm extremely proud about the products. I'm proud of Franco that we have them involved. But I want you to know our focus is on family, and our focus is on giving people great experiences with their family. So to me, the product is a vehicle. While it will help change people's lives financially, help change their lives with help, I also think we're going to change their relationship with their family. And that's the most important thing to me. Now, to answer your thing about kids, and I'm super glad you asked me this, Troy, my daughter, who I believe is an exceptional person, and I think most fathers feel that way about their daughters, she has put together a new company. It's an internet-based product that is an interactive website that gives kids the ability to learn about values and success principles. Now, in the world today, with all the garbage that is on the internet, that's on the TV, and even all the learning that kids learn in schools today, traditional learning at schools, our kids are missing out on what I believe are the most important things, and that's learning core values like integrity, honesty, diligence. They're not, learning. They're not learning the principles that I think are value-based anymore. I mean, God has been taken out of our schools. It's been taken out of our society. And my daughter is strong enough of a person that she's decided she's going to put together, and they're just about finished with it, a national or international website where children, toddlers, are going to be able to go on this website and have an incredible experience. For example, they're going to have lessons learning about themselves and success principles. And they're going to learn that by going through a series of interactive lessons that are fun with games that teach kids about how important they are and the greatness within themselves, and teach them goals. You name a success principle, kids are going to learn that through these interactive lessons. The other part of her site, there's this really cool time machine where the kids can take their little avatar, the little person they create, and get in this time machine, and they can go back in time and visit someone that's had a huge impact on the world. People like Einstein and people throughout history like Gandhi that have had such an impact on the world, and take the kids back to that time and place when they're doing those things that are impacting the world. So I'm not probably doing a very good job of what it's about, but the bottom line is there's nothing out there like it, and kids are going to have an experience that's, I believe, going to have long-term impacts on their values and their success in their life.
Troy, I've got Matthew, who's 11 now, and he's the reason I got out of policing, and Laura, who's 8. And Laura was born 1 month before I joined network marketing. So she's been on stages since she was 2 years old, and that's all she knows. It's her life. And Fred's a grandpa. He's got how many grandkids now? 6 grandkids.
Yep.
And we've got a lot of young people in our lives. And we've said, before there was a company, when it was just Fred and I dreaming about what we'd like to do, we said, whatever we do, it's got to have kids involved. And everybody we brought into this gets that. You'll see on our website a big picture of all of our families. So we're going to have a huge focus on kids. In our products, Franco is formulating kids products for us, health and nutrition products. At all of our major conventions, kids get forgotten. And so when we have a major convention going on, we're bringing in early childhood educators. And a lot of the parents are actually going to create a kids convention that's going to run at the same time. So the kids are going to have crafts where they're going to get to make trophies and awards. And when the adults are in the breakout sessions, the kids are going to be in receiving awards on stage. And we've got people teaching kids how to speak professionally. And the kids are going to go on field trips. We're going to have, right after we launch, Jenny Thompson's working heavily right now on getting a charitable cause put together where we're going to be sending meal packs to kids all over the world as part of our company. And then what Fred was just talking about, Paige's website is unbelievable. I don't even know, are we talking about the name? Is Paige announced it?
Shine Bright?
It's shinebright.com. It's amazing. It's a annual fee. It's like a couple bucks a month. Kids get to use it. She's a stay-at-home mom now, and she's homeschooling her kids, so she wanted a resource for her kids. That it's turned into something amazing. So a young person can go there, they can create their own avatar game character and travel through time, and it's unbelievable. And I've seen some concepts. It's amazing. There's no site like it in the world. So I was sitting in the airport one day with my family, and we were going on a holiday, and little Laura, who's just absolutely brilliant, she looks at me and she says, Dad, if you and Fred are going to make your company all about kids, then you should have a button on your website where the kids can go and play games. And so, all the moms and the kids are going to like the network marketing company too. You know what she actually said, Troy? She said, so that finally all the moms and kids like the network marketing company too. She speaks her mind. But as soon as she said that, it was an aha moment for me. I picked up the phone, I called Paige, and I said, Paige, listen, what do you think about doing a strategic partnership with ShineBright and Ocean Avenue so that whenever an ambassador joins, that's a new person joins, the minute they join our company, as long as they're active, then all of their kids get free memberships for ShineBright. And so it's going to be on the website. I mean, think about this at so many different levels. So now when the kids get home from school, what's the first thing they're doing? They're going to oceanavenue.com to plug into the Kids Zone. I mean, when have you ever heard that before, that a company thinks so much about kids that they've created something that attracts kids, that it makes it a real family opportunity? And then, of course, mom's in the kitchen or in the living room, and she sees the first thing that the kids are doing is running to oceanavenue.com, the network marketing company website, to log into the Kids Zone and learn about science and history and good values and good principles. I mean, that's what makes us different, and that's what that's our love for kids personified.
That's huge. That is huge. And I can tell you, as someone that's just that you guys have welcomed into the family, that my family has felt that's real. Even Cassie, when she found out that I was interviewing you two tonight, said, please tell Ken and Fred I said hello, because you guys made an impact in her life already. So, this is fun for me, because as somebody that is sitting here studying this and saying, okay, where's the weakness? Are these guys for real? It has been fun for me to go back and go through my notes, go through all the recordings that I've taken of you guys, listening to you, watching what goes up on the website, looking at your past and seeing the congruency of what you guys are saying, and then meeting your families the way I have. I mean, I'll never forget the day that Paige came into the room and started sharing that vision. And it's like, wow. I mean, this wasn't something that she was reading a script off of. She knew what she wanted to accomplish and the power of what could be done if the two of you guys, brought ShineBright and Ocean Avenue together. Watching Stacy Fred, I'm going to have to get her on video, because I want people to understand that moment. I mean, I could see in her eyes when she was sharing. I was in front of him and said, I'm going back to Salt Lake City if he's not going to be around. I mean, this is different. I talk to people, I bet thousands a month. And what you guys are doing and the team that you've brought together has been amazing. Watching you guys, I had this privilege, folks. Let me tell you, these guys were great. They flew my family down. We went to Orlando, and they're working on the comp plan. And I tell you what, you talk about two guys that are so dedicated to this comp plan and making sure that it's the fairest, most unique, most different compensation plan for distributors, and at the same time allow the company to make money, is unbelievable. And Ken, I want you to talk about that a little bit. I want you to share, and you don't have to give all the details. We'll probably do this at a different time, but I want you to share why you want this comp plan so different out there than anything else that was created, and why you've been so doggone dogmatic that it be just like you wanted it to be.
Ken has been tenacious, I will tell you. Well, there's a couple reasons. Firstly, I've made most of my money in binary type comp plans, two-legged compensation plans, and I've made millions. Just hordes and hordes of money. But I'm also, I'll be very honest with you. I think that on the front end of binaries there are some issues, and I think that incredible leaders in the industry, like the guys at Evolve and the guys at Vima and others, have done incredible things to change their comp plan so that they've eliminated those flaws that I just talked about. But the fact of the matter is there is more money on the front end of a unilevel than for the newest person in the first days after they join. And of course, the more money you can get in somebody's hands on the front end of a comp plan when they're first joining, the belief is bigger. And so coupled with that, and I saw a company called Melaleuca. It's a matrix that broke $1 billion a year last year. I mean, congratulations to those guys. They're studs. And they did it with a matrix. So it proves that you can do it with any of them. I knew that the compensation plan had to be 3 legs. And I'll tell you why. Fact of the matter is that there are certain countries around the world that 2-legged binary-style compensation plans, there are some legal arguments in the countries that make it very hard to get compliance certificates from governments in certain countries if you have a 2-legged plan. And the bottom line is, in those countries, some companies that operate binary plans rewrite all their marketing literature and promote their matching bonus structures and say it's a unilevel. Well, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have the exact same marketing plan for every single one of our ambassadors around the world. And so we have a compensation plan that we've gone to work with some of the greatest compensation plan designers on the planet, and it's amazing. It starts off by teaching through the simplicity of a unilevel, and it's 3 legs, and as you build, it opens up to give you the same method of paying as a major binary compensation plan. So it really is a true hybrid.
You know what, though? I'm going to interject something, Troy. I know when Ken was putting together this plan, he had I think his heart was in the right spot. If you look at a pure binary, there's a lot of big checks that go to the leaders, but that's at an expense of somebody.
That's right.
And I know Ken really wanted to find a balance. How do you make it possible for the new person to get in and get rewarded for their efforts and have success, and not just have it be the benefit of the big leader that helped bring them into the company? And I saw Ken really struggle with this concept. He really wanted to find a way that rewarded the new people on a fair, even basis that gave them the best chance for success, and at the same time reward the big leader, because as we know, without them, without their passion and their drive, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to interject here because I want to tell you, I think Ken, he's not saying it here very much, but I think he was actually looking for a moral high ground to make it possible for more people. And I take my hat off to him because it's been a struggle. This has not been an easy thing. He spent, I don't know how many hundreds of hours on this thing.
Well, let's look at it this way. If we went out to any ethical binary leader, any leader, ethical, balanced, lover of people leader, they might not say it publicly, but they're gonna say, gosh, I wish there was a few more dollars on the front end of the comp plan. They're just gonna say that. And if you go to any really cool ethical leader in a unilevel, they're gonna say the same thing. Man, I wish there was more money in the back end for the leaders. And all we have to do is create a compensation plan that starts off by taking somebody by the hand and helps them with the behavior, how to make money quickly, how to help them to believe that it can really happen. Our compensation plan will pay somebody hundreds of dollars for sponsoring one person. Without having to worry about 2 legs or 3 legs, one person, it can pay them hundreds of dollars. And then it'll compete with any hybrid binary compensation plan for top leaders out there. And I think we've done something that's really special. So it's not actually a new compensation plan. It's just a very unique reiteration of the best of comp plans.
Well, and I like it. I've been looking it over, and it's like, you guys really have, I think, created something here that whether a person's brand new, never been in network marketing before, just getting started, there's something there for them. They'll see that it's easy to get started. I think the leader out there that says, maybe I'm looking for a new home and and I need something that's going to be a challenge, I think they'll be able to look at this and say, holy Toledo's, I can make some really good money in this. This is always going to be a challenge to me. There's going to be something, going on the next horizon. So you guys really have, and as we create and let that out of the bag and people see what's there, I think they're going to be totally amazed. I've kept you guys on here for a while. I mean, we've been at this, but one thing that we're going to do, we're going to interview Franco, but Ken, I want to back up. I want you to really talk a little bit for a moment about the products, and Fred, you too, because I mean you were in on the creation of some of these. Why the product mix that you guys are launching with? What is so important about this?
I'm going to say, I'll say this right out of the gate, and we all know it. In a lot of cases in network marketing, companies are started by very astute business people that find out about the power of network marketing, and they say, I want to start a network marketing company, and then the second thought is, what am I going to sell? And I want the world to know that we are not those guys. We got reconnected because of a friendship and a love, our families. And then while that happened, Franco came along. My friend Robert introduced me to him, and we got to know Franco, and we realized that his love for what he does is unbelievable. He's actually still studying at 46 years old at the University of British Columbia, and he's one course away from his PhD. So soon we're going to have Dr. Franco Cavallari, our Chief Science Officer. And Fred and I have invested in clinical studies, in vitro studies that are going to be done on our products at the University of British Columbia, one of the best bionutrinomics facilities in the world. And so, because we recognize that in this day of regulatory chaos, it's important to have studies and efficacy behind our products. And so we're going to do all of that there. Our products are all going to come through Franco. Now, he might not be the guy that brings them all to us, but we definitely are going to look for Franco's blessing. We just trust the guy. His understanding of science and health it's second to none. And so our company was created because an amazing scientist with some unbelievably unique products was introduced to a couple crazy entrepreneurs.
And I think that's
something else. Troy, something else I want to touch on about the products. We had a big discussion internally. What is the right thing to launch as a company? Because in today's environment, things have really changed. People have an attention span of a gnat, and unless you can figure out a way to capture their imagination and their emotions quickly, you're probably not going to succeed. That's why you see so many things changing in the industry today. So part of the challenge that we had, and I'm being an open book here, part of the challenge we had with our product mix is they're so scientific based that we were worried that the science was going to get in the way of recruiting. Again, because people want something, they want to hear about it quick, they want to make a quick decision, and the science and or the money story sometimes can get in the way. So the big challenge to us is, how do you take such awesome science-based products, and I would challenge people to go online, look at the products so that I don't have to get long-winded about them here on this call. But they need to look at it. I mean, they're real. Franco's real. Google him. Look at his history. You'll see the products are for real. But as a company, we made a choice, and I think it's a good moral, ethical choice, and that is we needed to come up with a nice, easy way to invite people to hear about us.
Viral. That's something that counts viral.
And if it's not viral and it's not easy, it's not going to work, and we're not going to reach $1 billion and be a huge company and have a huge impact on people. So we've decided internally that it's important that our message be simple and pure. And the more simple and pure, the more successful we believe we will be. Now, that doesn't mean the science isn't there. It's all there. And I would love to have people go dig into the science, because that's why we got connected. But to be successful, we want to make it an easy thing for our ambassadors. We want to give them an easy way to invite their friends, their business associates, the people they know and don't know. And that's why we've come up with, I think, a very beautiful and honest approach, and different. I hope that makes sense, Troy.
No, that made total sense. And I want folks to know, too, I said in the meetings, as you guys were trying to figure out what to call certain products, and I want folks to understand that everything kept going back, well, would that be family sounding? Is that something that families would talk about? Is that something that a mom and dad might want their kid to use? Or, you know, this is big to me because I love family. Obviously, I got 6 kids, and I'm like Fred, I got grandkids all over the place. And watching you guys walk that walk, I'll probably be driving that home for the next 2 or 3 years for people, letting them know, man, these guys really do live by this family code that they have. And it's like, I love that. But I want to know, is there anything we've not covered that we should cover before we end the call for people?
Yeah, Troy, if you don't mind me saying something,
Please.
And I don't want to toot your horn too loud. You're a genuine guy.
Yeah, amen.
You know, I got to meet your family a number of times now, and, you know, just like when you had your family travel with you, my hat off to you, you're the real deal. And I'm just so pleased that you feel enough about us that you're willing to talk about us. Because I know you're the real deal, and if somehow we could be connected to you, I think that'll help. And I appreciate the effort you're going through to put the word out there about us. It's really important, and I'm grateful for your time, just so you know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And one last thing, if people want to know what we are a company that is going to try and change families, give them the opportunity to spend fantastic time together, create memories, and be able to do it in a way that they can enjoy their health. They can put on that bikini, go to the beach, and have the nutritional health to enjoy the time with their family. And to me, it's perfectly synergistic. It's a great message.
Yeah, I think the last thing I would say, Troy, is that we want to be the example. That's exactly what Fred just said. We want to be the example. We want to be the example to the industry.
Perfect.
We want to be the example to our families. And I think we're on the right track.
Amen.
Guys, folks, you've been hearing, and this is another one of our little, fireside chats that we do every now and then. And with these guys, it's definitely gone longer than I anticipated, but these guys are awesome. So hang out, go check out Ocean Avenue. Folks, listen, live life like it's an epic adventure. Stay dangerous, stay strong, and if you're in network marketing, then act like it.